Well, I'm filming this T-cross on like one of the windiest days in Cape Town. Obviously, we have a few of those. So if it sounds rather noisy, it's because of the wind, not really because of the car. Now, the term all-rounder, it's like a positive thing, right? It is. Like I would say I would be considered like an all-rounder at school. Like, I was like good at sport, but I wasn't like the best, although I wasn't the first team water polo, by the way, from standard 6 to matric. So at the age of 13, I was under 18, first team water polo. Psh, I just had to put that in. I've never told you guys that. I feel like it's important information. But in general, I was sort of an all-rounder. Like I was sort of good at academics, but not great, sort of like a bang average. I'd say like some people, most people, I think, liked me. Some people didn't. I think like, yeah, I wasn't like an overachiever in any way. So I find this is a positive thing to say because the T-cross is often described as an all-rounder because it does everything quite well. It's not excellent, it's not the best maybe, but it's certainly not terrible. And it's not polarizing, which I think that's tricky. Maybe I am quite polarizing. But that's maybe now. Maybe not at school I wasn't. Like I'm a people pleaser. That's what the T-cross is. It's like a people pleaser. It's a people's car, right? It's VW. And I love it for it, okay? I'm a big fan of the T-cross. The only negative, I would say, has been its price. People complain that it's too expensive. And so I actually wanted to do like a comparison because the Sonnet is always my go-to recommendation, right? Like you all know I love the Sonnet. So I wanted to see like, because when you buy a car, you need to check things like obviously service and warranty and all that kind of jazz, but also what the insurance is going to cost you. So I wanted to compare what a T-cross's insurance would be, this model specifically, which is the 85 kilowatt R line, and then the equivalent model Kia Sonnet. So, can you believe it? You'll see now, scrolling on the screen. The best price I got for this, when I put my details into hippo.co today, was 698 Rand. And I got the same for the Kia Sonnet. The difference was in the excess. So, 9,500 for this, 7,500 for the Sonnet. Interesting. But doesn't it just go to show that it really, you should do your homework before buying a car? So people might feel this is more expensive, but VW has listened. And when this launched last year, sort of August, I think September, and the top of the range models arrived at that time, these were actually priced less than the outgoing models. Now in February, early February, the entry-level models came in. So this comes in at just over 533,000 Rand. The entry-level T-cross is just like 400,000. They've also changed their naming, so there's no longer like the same thing with Polo, or there's no longer like Comfort Line and Trend Line and whatever those. It's just sort of like T-cross, like you've got your entry base, T-cross base or whatever. But nonetheless, this segment is jam-packed. It also is a very difficult segment because the pricing band of like 400 to say 540 or 550,000 Rand, there's so much on offer. Okay, you've got your Cherry Tiggo 4 Pro, you've got your Haval Jolion Pro, you've got your Mazda CX-3, you've got your Peugeot 288, you've got your Sonnet that I mentioned earlier, you've got Hyundai Venue even, there are so many options. The Toyota Corolla Cross, which is the top seller, the best-selling SUV, I think, in the country. And because the price is so tricky, I feel for VW and some of the legacy brands and the fact that the Chinese brands have come in and they're offering things like a Beijing X55 or an Emoda C5, like that are all in that price band, but are much bigger cars than this and have a load more technology thrown into them. A lot of standard features. Can't compete with that. But one has to consider what it is that their needs are and what they're looking for, and again, what people love to drive. Like VW fans will love a T-cross. I am a VW fan. I love a T-cross. But this being the price that it is, like the update, okay, it's got beautiful new styling tweaks. It's got like, this is standard with VW's IQ lighting system. the LED matrices and the like whatever's cool new, or the infotainment system that is like suspended. And then the thing is, the options on this car will take it into another price bracket, just about. So yeah, like that's where it kind of gets to me. The T-Cross comes standard with like 6 airbags and electronic stability control and everything, but for all the other sort of packages, they're all optional extras. This comes with the one that I had this issue on this and on the Tiguan. I'm getting the Touareg next week, and I'll be interested to see if I have the same issue. The sort of emergency braking, it's like parking and maneuvering, and here I managed to turn it off. So when I'm going out of my driveway, the driveway is like a bit of a bump, and so it lows, and so the car like pings at me to let me know, like, you know, but I know it's not going to hit, right? I've driven it 1,000 times. The car obviously doesn't know that, but what happens is I'm driving and all of a sudden it just brakes and like the whole car shudders. I nearly have a heart attack. Luca cucks himself. My husband nearly actually just jumps out the car. He gets such a fright. I think it like jolts my back out of place. So I've turned that off, which kind of defeats the whole point of having it, right? That sucks. But anyways, this is also, I mean, look, it's got cruise control, and now you've got like wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got a wireless charger in here. But again, a lot of optional extras. From a space point of view, now remember this is the same platform as a Polo, but it does have a slightly bigger boot of 385 litres, I think it is. And in actual fact, I popped these seats down yesterday, put in all my dad's like LPs, his records, his CDs, his DVDs of like Hello, and like Mrs. Brown's Boys or something, and Faulty Towers and Monty Python, basically like the whole British thing, even though he's not British. Because I had to take them to Revolution Records in OBS to get rid of them, because I'm helping them move. But besides the point, I digress. This was actually quite cool to put everything in. It like really I had no issues. So that's always quite nice to know that you can get a little bit of space. There are also 3 new colors for these T-Crosses. So you've got grape yellow. Then you've got this, which is King's Red Metallic. But my favorite is the clear blue metallic. It's really beautiful. You'll know if you've seen it on the road. If not, Google it. It's such a lovely color. And I just think it makes it a little more fun and a little bit more edgy in a way. Gives it a little bit more character, do you know, than just being an all-rounder. We're pretty cool peeps though. So it still has the 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine under the bonnet, with its 200 kilowatts, 85 kilowatts of power, wowzer, and 200 Newton meters of torque. By the way, guys, when I make a mistake with numbers, you can maybe forgive me for being human. I don't have anyone in here. I don't have a producer or director. I say things, and then the video gets edited. I watch it to make sure everything's right. Sometimes I miss things, okay? I do apologize. That's what happened with my Haval H7 one. I by mistake said the wrong kilowatts. But I said 270 instead of 170. Sheesh, you'd swear that I murdered someone. Anywho, so this is mated to a 7-speed DSG. Now, the engine is perfection, okay? I find it's refined, it's lovely, we know this engine. The sort of bummer for me is this, okay, and it's the sort of collaboration between the two. I find that I'm almost catching this gearbox out. And especially with that auto stop start, I hate it. So I always turn it off as I get into the car, I turn it off. But if you want to pull away quickly, especially if the auto stop start you haven't turned it off, like it's like you've caught the car off guard in a way. And I don't love that. I think it takes some getting used to. Another thing that I think is maybe a little bit far-fetched is the fuel consumption. It is claimed at 5.6 litres per 100 k's. That is not going to happen. I am currently sitting at 8 litres per 100 k's. And I think you're going to sit between 7 and 8, not 5.6. Once you get onto an open road, you might get it down. But I'm doing my usual commute, which I think a lot of people will be doing a similar kind of commute, which is like school runs and the shops and to and from work or works things, you know, around the city maybe. So, yep, 8 litres per 100 k's is what I'm sitting at. Ooh, The other thing to consider, like this has got 18-inch alloys on, like go with 17 or less. I don't know, the ride is quite firm. I don't know if most people would notice it. I notice it because that is my job to notice it. But I do find when you hit any sort of uneven terrain, like if I was living in Joburg and you hit a pothole, my gosh, you know, and you guys got a lot of those. We don't have so many of them here. But yeah, that's something to consider. Other than that, comfortable, fuss-free, easy to drive. I would say, if you are considering a car within this price bracket, maybe consider an alternative just because there are out there and you might get more car for your money in a way. But if you are a Volkswagen fan, go with Volkswagen's darling, which is the T-cross. I'm happy.